So, welcome back to my channel. Today, I want to get into some of the things that we heard as Black children that were toxic. Now, if you're not Black, you can probably still relate to some of these things now. So, don't skip this video because it might relate to you too. Now, growing up, there are a lot of things that we heard as children that left us riddled, insecure, anxious, not feeling like we can have a voice. And I want to go over some of those things, okay? So, number one thing that I remember hearing as a child that I feel like was pretty toxic was a child is meant to be seen, not heard. Have you ever heard that before? Are y'all still hearing that from y'all elders, okay? Now, that comment to me was told repeatedly. You are meant to be seen, not heard. And now, what was some of the lasting effects of that? The anxiety, the struggle to now have a voice, okay? Because as a child, you were told so many times, you ain't supposed to have a voice. You're supposed to sit there and be good. Now, that leads into my second, being a good child. What does that really mean, okay? Are you a good child? Am I represented just by my behaviors? Am I just like someone who's just supposed to acquiesce and do what is deemed good? Okay. So hearing you need to be good. Okay. Because what happens if you're not good? You got a whooping, you got beat, you got things taken away from you because you didn't live up to the being a good child. And so now today you struggle to not be seen through productivity, okay? Are you a person who now your self-worth is tied to productivity? Like you feel like if you're not doing something, you're not good. You're not a good person, you're lazy, you should be doing more. And that is tied to being good. What to you was seen as being good growing up, okay? Let me know in the comments, all right? Now, my next one, number 3 on this list of toxic things we heard in our community as children, okay? What happens in this house stays in this house, okay? Let me know if you can relate to hearing that because that kept so many secrets, okay? That kept us feeling like we can't ask for help. We're not allowed to go outside of the home and let them know what's really happening to us. That can be the sexual abuse we were going through. That can be the things that our family was going through, because if I tell somebody, I'm going to get in trouble. I'm supposed to keep everything behind these closed doors. And now as an adult person, I struggle to ask for help. I struggle to let people in. Is that you? Do you struggle to let people in and really feel like you don't have to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders? Because as a child, you did. Okay, you were conditioned. Okay, were you raised or were you conditioned? Okay, because I have a feeling you were conditioned and not raised. Okay, now let me know if that's too deep, but let me know if you were told what happens in this house stays in this house, and what that did to you mentally now as an adult. Are you somebody who suffers with asking for help? Let me know in the comments. Okay. Now, okay, my next one, okay, if you don't want to live by my rules in my house, you can leave. Okay, now that might not be the most toxic thing, but it can make you kind of feel like, okay, if I don't do what you say the way you want to do it, then, I'm a bad person. I'm less than. I can't show up as me because in this house, we do whatever you say, whatever you do. Okay, I have no autonomy and no voice. And now as an adult, I feel like I struggle to have a voice. You might struggle to feel like you have a solid foundation because you are used to the threats. Okay, and that also goes into relationships that you have now with adult romantic partners. Do you see love through that toxic kind of dynamic that you saw growing up from your own parental relationships? Okay, now, was it that you did something bad and your parents didn't apologize, and the way they apologized was, it's food in there on the table. You hungry? That was the apology right there, was, are you hungry? Where was the accountability? Where was the I'm sorry? With my own kids, I make sure I apologize because I don't want them to feel like adults don't make mistakes. We do. I'm trying to mirror to them that it's okay to take accountability. It's okay to make mistakes. We all make mistakes, okay? And in my house, we really have a lot of autonomy. My kids talk to me about things that probably most kids don't talk about. We have a really open door policy, and I see that in the way my kids show up in the world with other kids. When those kids come to my house, I see the difference. And even when people tell me that my kids are a little bit more emotionally intelligent and talk about things that most kids would not. So let me know, were you a person that felt like you did not have a voice, and do you struggle now as a voice? Okay. And let me know if I don't say all the things that you heard as a kid that were toxic, that are still, ruminating and renting free space in your head, in the comments. But parents don't realize a lot of things that they say, we really do lean on. It really does affect us now as an adult. And most parents are like, well, that happened, get over it, move on. Or you might have siblings that are like, that happened, I moved on, so why are you stuck on it? But just because you grow up in the same household does not mean you have the same experience. It's very interesting to me in my practice how siblings who sometimes grow up in the same household really have different experiences. And sometimes the sibling who has moved out may still feel guilt about the sibling who is still living there. So there are people who feel like they're grieving their childhoods, even though their siblings feel like they had a great childhood. But oftentimes, that childhood trauma from these toxic things that we heard are still in our heads. It's still affecting us. So really think about some of those things that you say now to your kids. Think about some of those things now that you say in your interactions with other people. Do you find yourself turning into your parents saying those same things? Because a lot of things that we heard, words mean things, okay? Just because someone in your household didn't experience it the same way that you did does not make your feelings inadequate. So I want to know, okay, do these sound familiar? What did I forget? Let me know in the comments. Let me know if you want to talk more about childhood trauma and the influence that it has now on you as adults, because that is my specialty. How childhood trauma is manifesting in you as an adult now today. Now you think that it's not, but leave it to sis, leave it to me, and I'm gonna tell you, that sounds like you got some childhood trauma that you need to heal from. So if you got this far in the video, make sure if you have not, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I drop videos on Mondays and Fridays, and I will catch y'all in the next video.